Hey guys, what's up? So this is gonna be a different video. Very different. I never thought I would see myself covering something like this, but then again, here we are. So there's been this stuff going on recently with Pokimane and Fed. If you don't know who they are, they're basically, content creators, that used to stream on Twitch together and all that stuff. Basically, there's like this high school drama stuff going on right now, and it's probably the most reading I've ever done in quarantine. So, not really sure why I'm making this video, but I thought I would make this video because there were two documents. The first document was released, not even released, it was leaked, and it was a document that Fed made covering like all that stuff, even though he said he never wanted released or anything like that. If you don't know anything about what I'm talking about, you can literally just go onto YouTube right now and just search Pokimane Fedmeister and a bunch of videos will pop up. But anyways, first document was leaked. Second document was from Pokimane and basically her going over the first document. Well, technically she started with a stream after the document was leaked. But then I guess she didn't like the way she said stuff from the stream, so she made a document. And then she was it's just all over the place. But anyways, I'm making this video because I've been keeping up with the drama myself. Not that I'm a fan of it. I think it's stupid. But I'm making this video because a third document was released. Oh, oh my god. Dude, a third document was released, but it was by Fed this time. So hopefully we'll get some more explanation as to like what's going on. But dude, a third freaking document, a third one. Like as if I didn't do enough reading with the first one. That was like 30 pages, and then Pokies was like 12. I think this one's 12 too. Yeah, this one's 12. Anyways, I'm gonna just read a little bit into it, and then give my thoughts on it. Again, I never thought I'd be making a video like this. Not really sure why I am, but just giving my opinion. Okay, so first part says intro. If you haven't read my last statement, and then it basically is just a link to his to the first one. Regarding all this, please do. I want to start off by addressing comments from friends and other individuals about how they believe I leaked the document myself. This is profoundly false. The individual that went behind my back and leaked my private document to the public made a statement himself. This was, if you guys, again, don't know what I'm talking about, you can literally just go look it up on YouTube. But basically, the dude that leaked the original document, he made his own. There's just so many documents. It's insane. But anyways, this is just a link to his document, which further corroborates that it was against my wishes. Disclaimer: don't expect some nuclear document that'll expose anyone and start more silly drama. This was never the goal or purpose from the very start. As you will come to read and understand, my original document was for my own therapy and never intended for the public. Okay, then we got some more text here. I want to first mention I was being very careful with who I shared the document with. I came to trust one of the more dedicated members of my community, just as I had in the past with many of the people I've come to be close friends with, and even some of them have come to help me with my day-to-day business. This person I had put so much trust in would maliciously go behind my back and set individuals part of the document in hopes for a leak or reaction. And again, if you want to know the leaker statement, you can literally just go look it up on YouTube. With no success, he once again tried when he did not agree with the arrangement I had come to with Poki. As I said in my last statement, this was a violent breach of my trust and against my wishes. As I've been working hard to grow, heal, and move on from everything. To be very clear, this document was made as a form of therapy for myself to address my concerns about the way Poki portrayed me in her stream. All of this has nothing to do with me trying to bring up old wounds. I wanted this all to stay private and to be handled privately. I can't begin to tell you how stunned I was when I suddenly saw the document on Destiny's stream. I want to move on and move forward just as everyone involved. After the leak, Pokey and I had both agreed to do joint statements, hers in the form of a stream and mine as a document where we would both own up and acknowledge our differences and perspectives and then move on. POKI wasn't happy with the way the public received her first stream, and as a result, she spent the last few days conjuring up her own document. After reading it, she cherry-picked screenshots and attempts to distract the reader from the larger issue I was trying to portray. I'm going to be discussing everything she brought up here. I have never once tried to deny any accusations made by me, by Yvonne, or Lily, as POKI likes to remind everyone over and over why this is all happening to begin with. I would like to remind her that this has absolutely nothing to do with that at all. What this does have to do with is the misinformation that was thrown at me by her and her alone. As I said in my most recent statement, I have come to a better understanding of her and why she has said some things that she did. That being said, I still, however, strongly disagree with her careless portrayal of me in front of millions of people. So I think what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to read through the whole document, and then I'll just give my comments at the end because it's 12 pages and I don't want to keep stopping. Reworking with Yvonne slash offline TV. She firstly includes texts where I complain about Yvonne's unwillingness to work with me. I never tried to hide this fact and even directly mentioned it in my original leaked document. I personally never brought up the idea that Yvonne should get kicked out of offline TV ever. What I did do is bring up my concerns to people in the house. We all talked extensively about our options and what we could do to motivate her and fix what we currently have and save moving out as a last resort, but still remain in her position as management. I naively thought my relationship with, and then it cuts out, and then these are just old screenshots. You can pause the video if you want to read them through, but they were already in his first one. My purpose of bringing up this information was to mention that in no way was I trying to get Yvonne fired because of the incident between us, the way POKI framed it in her original statement/stream, and that it was 100% had to do with her lack of excitement and willingness to help with offline TV projects when it's the only reason she's in the house. And if you read my original leaked statement, you'd know that this wasn't surprising to me because of how POKI would privately portray her to me when she used to work for her as well. She continues to show more text providing that I did in fact bring up my concerns to people in the house, which again I never denied. The incident between me and Yvonne was in December of 2018, and these showcase texts that take place during October of 2019, long after Yvonne and I talked about it, and I had naively thought we put it all behind us. Again, the whole reason I brought this up was to begin with was an attempt to showcase that I had zero interest in firing her over what happened between us, and I brought up my concerns to the house because I was 100% focused on making offline TV more successful. And then once she starts helping out more, those concerns were no longer relevant to me. And then she brings up these texts again, and then it's just more screenshots. You can, again, pause the video if you want to read through these, but these are just old stuff that were already included. Actually, I think these might be new, but it's just, if you want to pause the video, you can just read the screenshots. And then there's just more here. Okay, you can just pause the video if you want to read it. Okay. POKI's justification for all this was that she was worried about offline TV being left on the back burner, and that we had a history of hiring court employees that later became content creators. To me, these claims were all valid, but I showed these in the first place because I wanted to A, show that she was actually the one pushing the idea of her being fired, and B, that at one point I defended her oh my goodness, I lost myself. Because from my understanding, I thought she was doing a good job and also getting streams in too, which I thought we were really cool with, which largely contradicts that I was trying to get her fired because of the incident between us. I could have easily agreed with her and helped her carry out the Let's Get Yvonne Fired campaign, but I really didn't think there were any problems at the time. It was extremely careless for her to say on her stream many months ago that I wanted her fired because of our incident, when I only ever brought up my concerns and complaints to people, just like any leader in my position would. Re-fed. She immediately brings up what she claims to be proof or admission of guilt about the Steve situation, which again, I actually just finished watching. I think this guy's pronounced Augie RFC. I just watched this guy's video on this take, and I think he said Steve is actually Fitz, which I think he actually claimed on Reddit. So if you guys don't know about that, you guys can go watch this guy's video. I literally just finished watching it. He was covering the same thing. About the Steve situation, after a tremendous amount of therapy and reflection, I want to quickly go over my state of mind throughout my confusing friendship with Pokey that'll support that although I never challenged her on things, it was never my intention to admit guilt on any front. Initially, with the Steve situation, Fitz, I apologized because I felt I breached her privacy. Also, I think the Fitz guy is the dude that was involved with all that Carson stuff earlier this year. In that moment, I didn't feel like I was lying because it was common for us to say, let's be friends, and then totally act another way and then relapse. I thought throughout this incident we were just in another cycle of all that, so I didn't feel like I was lying to him. As to the psychology of it all, I didn't bother to challenge her when she confronted me about Steve because I always dreaded fighting slash arguing with her because I felt she had a lot of power in whatever we had, and I cared for her too much in that most of what she said I would tend to agree with to avoid conflict, even until the bitter end. I know this is one of my issues, the fear of confrontation, and I should have talked things out more, but at this time and at that moment, and it was much easier to just say, sure, whatever, I'm sorry, than to have an argument over how we're leading each other on. I would assume many people can relate to this. What I've learned throughout all this thought is that oftentimes the hardest conversations are usually the ones worth having, and that's true. I can get attest to that. The fear of confrontation and in complete agreement with whatever your accuser says because of how terrified you are of conflict and how much you want to maintain peace. This kind of mentality would continue even before she did her initial stream 5 months ago, where she asked me what I had not liked mentioned. I said if you can find it in you to leave out telling Josh/Steve Fitz that you and wait, what does that say? That you and we. I think it means you and me. That you and me were a thing. There's a lot of typos in this, by the way. It's something I would just not like mention. I sent these texts during a time when my whole world was being flipped from literally every direction, and I once again felt and believed what everyone was pinning on me was true. In my head, I knew some of the things she mentioned weren't right, but I suddenly knew trying to convince her that it happened a lot differently, she probably wouldn't buy, which is inevitably true. To elaborate, I felt it was an argument I was in no position to have because A, I wasn't mentally equipped to have it, and B, I knew she wouldn't buy my sudden change of opinion. I apologize if this is hard to follow, but the issue is something I'm much more aware of now and I'm still trying to learn from and understand better. Even in my conversation with Janet, I felt that I was still heavily influenced by Pokey. I believed whatever claims she had against me. It was a very stressful time. It was much easier to just accept whatever claim against me and move on rather than argue at any point at any stage. And then I believe this is an old screenshot. Let me see here. Yeah, so this is the screenshot from the first document, but he actually goes into further explanation. So here, I'll go ahead and read his explanation. Like for this first text, he says, she very clearly says, but I can stay in yours. I think he's trying to clarify the fact that, like all the stuff that he was saying before. He also says below, to me this meant she was open to staying with me and the girls would get Pokey's room because during this time I would sleep over hers often. Then again, he says down here, she alone is asking me to stay with me alone. He's basically just trying to, I think he's trying to just reinforce the fact that that she was asking him to stay alone because I think in her document she tried to say something about how she was talking about her and the girls and not just her. But if you want to pause again the video and read through all this, you can. There's some more text here on the side that's probably really really small. You're probably gonna have to like take a screenshot and like zoom in or something. But you can read that if you want to. 6 days later after the sleepover. Again, you can pause the video and look through these if you want. Waiting for her to finish her league game so I can sleep over. Timestamp shown with MacBook. Okay, and now we're on page, what page is this? I think this is page 8. Yes, page 8. Okay, here we go. She tries to debunk a singular screenshot by explicitly providing context to it. She tries to frame this in a way that makes it seem like I purposefully withheld proper context, but a lot of the facts still remain, and she still continues to ignore the second sleepover DM from December 12th, 2018, which further reinforces that sleepovers were a regular thing, which was my entire argument. As detailed in the image, I explained that to me, she alone is very clearly asking to stay in my hotel room. We were not exclusive. So she uses phrases like, "I really want to give you the freedom to do whatever you want." I thought she was just testing me to hear to see if I was seeing slash interested in anyone while in Vegas that weekend. I was quick to respond, and then she hits me with the beg for me to stay with you, which I interpreted as teasing because she knows how much I would want her to stay with me. So the impression I got from these texts, as I'm sure many of you do, is that she alone was going to stay in my room with me. This was what was supposed to happen, but didn't. Instead, the other girls decided to all stay in my room. And 6 days later, I waited for her to finish her League of Legends game before I came to sleep over at hers instead of mine. So these screenshots in conjunction say a lot more. Just to be clear, the only reason I'm responding to this is because she tries to put into question my credibility and further pushes the narrative of manipulation. There were a lot of screenshots I hadn't got to explain because I had stopped working on the original doc and didn't want it out. I should also point out that Poki said in her stream in her statement that she told me way back in March 2018 that she just wanted to be friends, which is true, but my whole point in the leaked doc was to show the on again off again cycle. This text happened December 2018. And then this part is to Jody. Before I get into anything, I'd like to apologize to Jody for painting her to Emaine in such a poor light. Two of my closest friends felt like she was using me for views and ignoring one of them during our Minecraft streams. When I was told this, I was very fired up when I heard my friend had felt isolated and that the possibility of her exploiting my attention was real. Without really thinking about the validity of such claims, I shared gossip between me and Poki. I do want to give more context and explain my thought process while writing this document back in August. There's some text here at the bottom. I never said I finished this document. After a while, I stopped revising it and added details slash evidence. I will now provide that context and show how it changes nothing. And then he just includes some more screenshots here. Again, if you want to read through any of these, you can just pause the video and just zoom in. These are the screenshots that Pokimane shared from her stream. Again, this is all old stuff. So again, if you want to look through it, you can just pause the video and and read that for yourself. Okay, screenshot from original document. Again, yeah, you could just from the original one. So if you want to read, you can pause it. From the previous text, we know me and Poki were having occasional sleepovers in mid-December. These above text happened in January on stream. Jody was jokingly trying to set up a date. Poki was watching my stream and later texted me, "Let me know how your date with Jody goes." Now that we have the additional context, that I feel like she's still keeping me interested with her use of words in conjunction with the text she provided, we get a better picture. When I see her try and tease or test me like she has in the past, it makes me feel like when she's bad mouthing the other girl in front of me, she's to some extent being possessive. That was my original argument. When she suggested the idea that we should go on a date, I tried to act like I was annoyed that she would even say that when she knows damn well I only care about her. As we've seen on previous pages, her teasing me when we're in this non-exclusive unknown state makes me feel like she is, to some degree, testing me. That's how I interpreted it. With her added perspective, I can see now that she might have just been parroting what I was saying. You can choose who to believe, but with the larger context at hand, I stand by how I felt, and see it now, which that was she was teasing slash testing me, intended or not, and then ultimately to me being possessive. And then finally, to the last page, I'd like to reiterate, when I wrote this document, it was initially for therapy as a suggestion by friends, so I was writing how I felt. And I felt in this moment she was being possessive because she has a history of teasing slash testing me about other girls regardless of what I said about Jody earlier in the text. Ultimately, I don't think it added context from her change as much because we were still in a weird spot based on how we were talking to each other. And when she texted that to me, I felt that she was being somewhat possessive by teasing me about dating Jody and then talking about her the way she did to me in the text. Poki likes to point out the time she told me she just wanted to be friends. This happened a few times. I would eventually accept this and start to see and meet other girls, hang out with them outside of offline TV, and then inevitably always return to her grasps when she'd show me signs of hope. Looking back now, we definitely could have been more honest and aware of our behavior around each other that could have prevented a lot of eternal conflict between us. And then conclusion. In closing, I want to once and for all end this. Both of us can keep digging into messy private DMs, but the whole point was to show it wasn't as black and white as Poki originally showed. It should be obvious by now. We both have completely different interpretations as to what happened in our past, and as we both said, the truth is probably somewhere in between. I know nothing said here or anywhere absolves me of my wrongdoings, but that was never the point. Rather, when I wrote this, I felt completely betrayed and wanted to gather my thoughts/information to understand her and my issues better. Again, I have never disputed any claims made by Yvonne or Lily. I know I crossed boundaries and disappointed a lot of people, but know that I'm working every day to become the best possible version of myself. I never had any intentions of this being public, and I very much regret that it was leaked. I want to move on and start a new chapter in my life. And then we got I think this is the closing, the closing one here. The time I spent at offline TV was some of the best parts of my life, and I'm thankful for every moment, but it's time to leave that all behind. This will be my last statement I make on this matter. Think of me what you want, but judge me on facts, and not careless renditions of my character with things I know to be false. At the end of the day, it's very clear to me and everyone that has read all this unnecessary drama that both Pokey and I have made mistakes. I feel we have both learned from our mistakes and have grown as people. I wish nothing but the best for all involved, but it's time for me to move forward, and I hope you all can too. Fed. Okay, so now that that document is finally over, nothing like that 30, 20 page, whatever one. Now the document, I'm done. Wow, what a what a freaking document, man. That's like okay. Well, right off the bat, honestly, just from all the other stuff, like all the other documents that were included, like his original one, and then Pokey's, and then the leakers document. I don't even know why that guy why that guy even uploaded a document for, but yeah, I guess throw it into the mix, right? Um, Honestly, they both did bad. From whatever perspective you're seeing it, if you don't like Pokey, fine. If you don't like Fed, fine. But it's not going to take a dumb person or a smart person to see that they both messed up. Like both of them, they both messed up. And I'm not gonna sit here and tell you, oh, you should believe Fed, or oh, you should believe Pokey, because it's not like a pick sides type of thing. I mean, if you read both of their statements, they've both, I mean, okay, maybe one more than the other has admitted their mistakes. Not gonna say who, but pretty sure if you've been keeping up, you definitely know who I'm talking about. But I'm not trying to bash on anybody. I'm just saying, literally, there's no meaning behind this. They've both messed up. Or at least there's no meaning behind this to like an average person like me or like you watching, unless you're the people involved, like Pokey or Fed or any of those people. Again, my comments, I don't really have much because I've honestly, this whole thing is just like, again, like I said, it's just like a bunch of high school drama. That's literally all this is. So again, they've both done some bad things, and I don't think that neither party deserves the hate that they've been receiving lately. So I think, again, believe what you want. You know, you feel whatever type of way you want. I'm not telling you how to feel. I'm just telling you, literally, it doesn't take a smart person to see that they both screwed up. They've both done wrong. And you know, it's a good thing that they've acknowledged that. So, you know, that's a step moving forward. But anyways, now that I'm finally done, if you liked the video, make sure please leave a like. Never done a video like this before, so definitely interesting. Um, yeah, so that's pretty much it. Again, if you want to go through the document, remember you can just pause at the times that I go through the screenshots and all that stuff. But I'm pretty much done with all of this. Thank God. I hope there's no more documents, so I don't have to read through them again. And I wish you all a good night.